All right guys, hey, Jason with Fender Garage in Gilbert, Arizona. We're gonna go take a little tour and do a little follow-up on a few of the builds. Not all the builds because there's way too many and we don't want this to be a 2-hour episode. Right over here, we're gonna check out this 1966 custom cab, sweet little slick side they call them. If you wanna know why they call it a slick side, I actually don't know why. But my guess is the slick sides were smooth on the outside and then they went to the bump side, which is it's had a little part where the molding was that bumps out, and then they went to dent sides, the molding pushed in. And so I'm making some assumptions here. You'll tell me if I'm right or wrong. With this 1966, this truck actually has been in the family a really long time. They didn't want to paint it, they wanted to keep it pretty original. Near as I can tell, all original paint. So we've got a brand new chassis underneath here, our brand new coilover shocks that we use by Falcon. We've teamed up with them to make the shocks for our chassis, specifically for us. We've got most electrical wiring in. The fuel cell is ready to go in. You can see the pigtail. We'll connect that in, and we'll also connect right here. We've got the fuel will actually connect in there. It's all ready to go. It's been installed, but we're just getting some wiring in. It makes it a little easier to do that if the gas tank isn't in there. Wheels on here. We just went with a traditional US mag. We got the offsets just right. When we ordered up the rear end, we kind of knew we were going to do just a one-piece cast wheel. And so the Rambler wheel is pretty common, looks good, it'll look great on this truck, and it's, you know, reasonably priced, that's for sure. We're getting a lot of the wiring prepped in here. There's some panels that we've already installed. We've got more that go in there. We just trying to get all the little doodads worked out and working together before we put it in final. We've got all the original radiator core support. We've got these new inner fenders. Well, not new, they're all original, but we got the inner fenders all trimmed out. I don't know if you can see here, they've all been trimmed out and flanged, and so they're ready to clear the A-arms, and then they were powder coated. So we just powder coated in the same black color to try to keep it a little bit more original. But we've got a brand new Gen 3 Mustang GT motor. And so we've got our radiator in here, our Spall electric fans, a cold air intake we've built, our Wheelwood brake kit set up. We just actually started putting this together today, so there wasn't any of this stuff wrapped around it. We started this morning. We've got our headers on here that we've designed for chassis, so we're gonna put those into production here shortly. Probably 3-4 days, we should be ready to start it. A lot of people ask about how to connect and plumb all this stuff up. So your PCV valves, or is it PCV? PVC? PCV. That's what I thought, but for some reason, PVC, like pipe, and I'm like, that doesn't, so the PCV connection right here will go right back, and we're using that, tying all the original one right here. But then there's the other crankcase ventilator right here and breather, and so we're actually just running it right straight into the intake, which is what would have been done in the factory setup. You could do a catch can, I suppose, if you wanted, or you could put just a breather port right on there and just let it breathe out into the air. That'd be fine as well. We got our power steering tank right here. We were kind of tight. We typically would put it right here, but it was just a little bit too tight with this fan. And so we decided to just install it right here. We took off in the back, you notice that we've removed the IMRC pods that are back there. And so we've got the runners in here pinned up. Just something we do. We think it looks a little cleaner, and then I'll have to plumb all that stuff up and make sure it's all working correctly. We just delete it. We have it deleted out of the tune and turned off. And then essentially we don't have to mess with it. We'll be running the AC lines. We've got right back here in the top, you'll see we've got the heater lines will go in there and the 2 AC lines here. And so rather than having them all go in one big mesh in one spot, it's a little easier under the dash if they kind of go in 2 different spots and a little cleaner. We'll install an H-pipe in this as well for the heater core. When we bypass that, we won't lose our coolant on both sides of the motor. It'll equalize itself out. Other than that, the truck's gonna be pretty original. We will put a custom AC valance that we're designing right now that next week we'll have 3D printed up. It'll be a part that we're actually going to make for these, but you'll be able to buy a complete AC kit for these here within the next probably 3 to 4 weeks. This thing's going to be pretty low to the ground, maybe about 6 inches off the ground, 6.5, and then fast. So let's go check out another project. All right, so we got another truck over here. If you take a look at this, I think we've talked about this before, F250. But if you look at the wheels here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So it's actually a half-ton truck now. So it used to be a 3/4 ton long bed truck. It is now a half-ton short bed, but an F250 body. It's sitting on a complete brand new chassis, wheels, tires, drivetrain, everything's new, and we're about a week away from sending it over to the upholstery shop to do a little light refresh. But come check this out. On the 66, if you were to take a look underneath the hood of this and kind of go backwards and compare it to the 66, you're gonna see that there's some things that are very similar. And the reason why is we just try to keep things as consistent and organized as we possibly can. The heater lines, again, go right behind the motor. The 2 AC lines are right over there. We've got our breather connected to the intake right here. And everything is all connected and very similar. This is very similar setup. The radiator is actually the exact same radiator. For us, we've got it designed to go from like 1960s all the way up to the same radiator. There's 2 different versions, but it'll accomplish all those. Probably the only thing in Ford that I've actually noticed that they were the most consistent on was the radiator core supports and the mounting of a radiator, which is the only thing. We've got our windshield washer fluid reservoir right here, and that will squirt jets up on the windshield as needed, and so that's already in there and ready to go. So we got to put a tune on it, a base file tune, and then we'll actually fire this thing up and do some driving on it. We got brand new carpet, brand new leather on the seat, a little bit of the headliner. We'll just replace it all so it's fresh, not too much over the top. We want to still keep it kind of true to its roots, but at the same time, this thing's going to be super fun to drive. Not super low. The customer himself didn't really want this to be low, which is totally fine. He gets to choose. But at the end of the day, he wanted to be kind of like a wolf in sheep's clothing or a coyote in sheep's clothing, where it looks pretty original. Maybe we threw some nice new tires on it, maybe, but goes like hell, which this thing will. So pretty cool. All right, follow me. We'll go over to the fab shop and we'll see what those guys are doing. All right, so we're over here. We got Will. He's been working on this. You've seen the firewall that he's worked on, the transmission tunnel. He's done a ton of work and he's done a beautiful job on it. Right now, he's going to have to work on building the supercharger coolant tank overflow here. And then we've got cold air intake right here. It's going to come over and kind of come down right here. And we'll pick up some fresh air right here. This will all be boxed in. Once we have those components, then really the main thing that's left is really just the fenders and a cover. Then we can kick this thing over and get it in the body shop. It's a brand new crate LSA from Chevy, which you can't get anymore. These are like one of the last ones. Basically said we're done with the LSA for aftermarket. So now you got to use like the LT4, LT5. All right, so we'll come over here. We've got the dash. You can kind of take a look. There's some modifications that have been started, a few things to finish, but the trans tunnel's all done. So a lot of the stuff is ready for body work. Pretty simple looking, but man, I cannot tell you, there's a ton of fab into this thing to get it to look this good. Even, we can come back here and look, they've got the bumper all tucked in nice, just a 1/4 inch away. Everything fits. They got this pretty cool little part for the license plate, but hide all the brackets. The tailgate, everything's been shaved. You've got a nice little panel here, and then you've got a box here for jumpers on off to kill the battery. That's all sitting right there. Pretty commonplace that a lot of people put it because it's easy access, but you don't see it anywhere else. So definitely been a real popular spot for a lot of the shops to do that. I can't say it was really our idea. I think I saw it somewhere and thought, man, it's a great idea. We'll do the same thing. As we mosey on over here, this is a 56, all supercharged. It's been widened. This actually has a ton of fabrication and we're almost done. We're just tidying up the loose ends, making a few things fit, putting some mesh grill in there, making sure everything's lined up. So when we get ready to go to body work, we're happy with the results. It doesn't require a lot of mud. Looking pretty good. These two will be heading to the body shop very soon. Let's look at this 49. So this is a 1949 on a full-blown chassis that we worked with Porterbuilt on the design and fit, but the reality is he wanted more of kind of a high boy look. So if you look, these are actually pretty tall tires. They're like 32s. And he wanted to be able to use it like a truck. It's gonna have a hitch on it. He wants to be able to pull a small race car. It's gonna be manual. He also wants to be able to have a bumper on it so that when he goes down to like the Bonneville Salt Flats, Speed Week, or any of those places where you want to race, he can push this car and get it going and do some racing with it. So pretty cool guy. Jeremy's been working on getting the trans tunnel built and installed. It's a manual, so these do have to actually come out if necessary to get some components on the transmission if we needed to. Otherwise, we've got seats that fit in here. We're using the Mustang seat. We've cut this section out because we're going to kind of fill it all in. He wants to have a radio, Bluetooth, navigation, and everything all right here. He does want cruise control and some of those conveniences of a new truck. We'll put gas struts on the hood so that it's not the springs. We'll put a lock as well so that you can't open the hood. Other than that, these three are really close to hitting the body shop. Excited to get these done. These have been kind of a long time coming and just waiting for parts, waiting for a lot of parts these days. You guys know how that goes, just parts, parts, parts. So let's walk back over here. We're finishing up the exhaust here. We had the exhaust done. We didn't like the way it sounded. Unfortunately, that's kind of the way it goes. There is a little bit of trial and error. We're kind of redoing it. And now that we're basically to the point where we're just down to getting the tips and everything on. This is just kind of loosely hanging there. But from here back is all done. All this is going to come out. And after we test it and we like the sound, it'll all be Cerakoted. As soon as this is done, we'll start getting the wood bed in it, and we're actually like a week away from being mostly done with this to start driving it, so it's pretty close. The fab guys have been pretty busy, so we got Luis over here helping out, and so he's doing a little raised floor in here. It's fixed, it won't open, and so we had to widen these tubs a little bit in order for the wheels that we wanted on here and the clearance, and raise it up so when it's low we have more clearance. We raised this up. You can see we've raised it up about 6 inches approximately. Built a floor in here, a little small access port for a kill switch and the battery jumpers as well, because the battery is actually going to be sitting right here. Might be a little hard to get to. Luis is just kind of finishing up, cleaning up. We're going to spray bed liner and just kind of clean it all up so it blacks it all out. And then we'll have to paint this and then this, but we'll have to do a little bit of patina look, fauxtina they call it. And so then I'll get in the paint booth with Juan and we'll try to make it look kind of like a few scratches, a few things like this. We'll try to reproduce that right in here. So we'll actually start with this base coat. We'll come up with a color here that will spray this, and then we'll spray maybe another color like a mustard color over it, and then from there we'll spray like this green color over it, and then we'll distress it, and when we like it and everything's good, then we'll kind of re-clear this little section with a semi-gloss clear. Not shiny, even though that we'll buff all this up and it'll be kind of shiny. We don't want to spray high gloss because it'll actually dull itself back down in a couple months. So we just want it to look nice and clean. So we'll do just a semi-gloss finish on that. But this was supposed to be done this week so we can get it on that 66 you guys saw in the very beginning. This is another truck. He's prepping for paint. It's super close. All the bodywork's done. We've got to spot prime a few things to kind of get it back up to where it's ready for paint, but he's prepping it for paint right now, and we'll get that spot primed. Chris is doing a killer job on it. He's done pretty much the whole truck by himself, and it's looking good. He's finishing off with 400 right now. Is that where you are?
That's right.
400 right now, and then we're going to do a couple spray outs. This truck will be blue. That's all we can tell you is blue, right? That's all we know at this point. And so we got some colors to spray, and we'll figure out what color it's going to be. This is a truck that we're actually not building. We just did the exhaust for him. A friend of ours, he's doing all the work himself, but we put headers and exhaust on it for him because he felt like that was one thing he wanted us to do, so we did that. But we sold him all the parts that he needs to do the work himself. And so he's got the motor in, and pretty cool truck. You can see the headers in there, and the exhaust is all done. So this truck is the very first truck that I actually built for a customer. I think I built one before this. It was a full build, but it was all the parts that the customer dropped off. This was one where the first big build that we'd ever done for someone. Also the first Coyote swap we had ever done. And so this is, I don't know, maybe 6 years ago. The 4R75 transmission, it was rebuilt at the time. Had a shop do it, don't know if they did it right, but it's starting to slip. So we've already pulled it out, put a brand new rebuilt tranny with the shop that we know does a really good job. Nice truck, but again, they all got to leave. So, and then we'll kind of finish up over here. We've been working on kind of perfecting the details and the process, you know, just getting everything put together correctly, how we want it, the best way, the best fit finish, and these two are coming out pretty cool. This is a really nice dark gunmetal color. Up against the black, the coilovers, it looks sharp. This is also getting a Gen 3 Coyote motor, 10-speed automatic in here. Both these were sold to customers that are doing some of their own work, but they wanted to buy a chassis from us that was complete, ready to go. This has got 14-inch up front, 14-inch rear. This has 14-inch up front brakes, 12-inch rear. And honestly, they'll both stop very well. So most of your braking's done up front anyways. And so if you're interested in a chassis, give us a call and let us know. The good thing with this stuff is that a lot of you guys might have a cool truck that just is nice. Maybe a patina truck that's just mint. Maybe you got a nice truck with a nice paint job and you don't want to mess with any of that stuff, but you just want to have a super cool drivetrain, ride quality, suspension, handles well. Then this is what you do. You literally buy this all put together. You then take off your truck from your old frame, clean it all up, pressure wash it underneath, maybe spray a bed liner or something underneath the bed and underneath the cab, clean those things up. Maybe you do like we did on the 66, you media blast and powder coat the inner fenders and the radiator core support. And then from there, you just start moving things over, new cab bushings, new bed bushings, new radiator core support bushings, and just start putting it together. And then you buy the radiator from us and all those other things. And literally, you can have your own truck that you can build yourself in your garage. This and the components you need that we can sell you are some of the more difficult things, and this stuff works really well. And so we're selling a lot more of these complete packages because of the ease of it, and the complexity is almost gone in doing a Coyote swap. So, I mean, there's still work, you gotta wire it up, but we can help you if you need help with that. So anyways, check these out, and if you have any more questions on projects and builds, you can comment in the bottom. You can email info@fapfender.com. This is a full meal deal right here, and it's actually what most people are wanting, because it actually, in the end, does save them time and money when they go this route. So anyways, that's it. So small tour. There's probably 3 times as much going on here as we showed you, but one thing at a time. So we'll see you next week. Thanks.